good evening, and welcome back inside the Fright Night Vault. If you're here again, you already know the kinds of stories we keep locked away down here, the kind that slip between cracks in the floorboards, or whisper just loud enough to be heard when everything else is quiet. And if this is your first visit, well, you've just found a doorway that doesn't lead where you think it does. Before we begin tonight's tale, I want to ask you a small favor. If you're listening right now, maybe while driving through a dark stretch of road or tucked into bed beneath an old ceiling fan, tap that like button and drop a comment telling us where you're tuning in from. We've had listeners check in from foggy mountaintops, haunted motels, and even places they refuse to describe. Also, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what comes next out of the vault. Now let me tell you something strange. There's a rumor among certain old apartment buildings, the kind with too many units and too few tenants. They say some floors have more rooms than are listed on the lease, and at the very end of a forgotten hallway, behind a door with no number, there's a room that shouldn't exist. A room that's always cold, always dark, and always occupied. The tenants don't talk about it, but sometimes if you're walking alone, you'll hear someone knock from the inside. So whatever you do, if you ever find yourself in a building like that, don't try to open it, because once it opens from the other side, it doesn't close again. Tonight's story, Room at the End, starts now. The building was never meant to have a seventh floor. That's what the manager told me the day I moved in. 6 stories, no more, she said, without waiting for me to ask. The elevator panel's just old. I didn't think much of it at the time. The place was cheap, quiet, and way too empty for how many units it claimed to have. The halls always echoed like they were waiting for footsteps that never came. But a week in, I noticed something strange. The elevator had a button for the 7th floor. It was scratched up, like someone had tried to gouge it out. When I asked about it again, the manager just stared at me and said, "You didn't see that." So, of course, I pushed it. I waited until midnight, when everything was quiet. I stepped into the elevator, hit 7, and felt a shudder. Not like normal movement, more like the elevator was changing direction without moving. The lights flickered. The floor count blinked and scrambled. 2, 4, 6, 9. Then nothing. When the doors finally opened, it wasn't a floor. It was a hallway, longer than the building should allow. The walls were off-white but stained yellow at the edges. The air smelled like wet paint and mold. And at the very end of that impossible hallway was a single door. No number, no doorknob. Just a long vertical crack down the middle and a rusted mail slot hanging open. I should have left, I know that now. But I didn't. I walked toward it, slow, like I was moving underwater. Every step felt heavier than the last, and when I reached the door, I could hear breathing behind it, shallow, measured. I knelt to look through the mail slot. At first, darkness, then movement. Someone was standing on the other side, not moving, just waiting. Their feet were bare, gray, wet-looking. Then they bent down, fast, and I stared back through the slot. I fell backward and scrambled to my feet, but the door never opened. It didn't need to. The thing behind it was already in the hallway. The air grew colder. The lights started dimming one by one, starting from the far end. I ran, hit the elevator, slammed the ground floor button. It worked. I got out, but the 7th floor button never appeared again after that. I tried telling the manager. She locked her office door and wouldn't open it. Slid a note under the gap that just said, "Don't acknowledge it." That night, I heard knocking, not at my front door, but behind the wall. A slow, deliberate knock, 3 times. I left the building the next day, didn't bother packing, just ran. But it's followed me. In my new place, there's a closet that gets cold sometimes, colder than any room should get. And last night I found a mail slot in the back wall I swear wasn't there the day before. It was open, and something inside it was breathing. They say some places are built wrong, not by mistake, but by design. Like something old and hungry wants to be let in. You don't find these rooms. They find you. If you enjoy these types of horror audio stories, just add a like, comment, share, and subscribe. It helps us keep the vault sealed tight because some doors were never meant to open.